A proposal to update the City of Minot's Human Relations Ordinance brought along strong opinions at tonight's City Council meeting on whether to keep it as is or add more demographics. The meeting prompted more than a dozen citizens to speak before the council in support of or in opposition to the updated language. Council member Carrie Evans says the updated language is meant to extend to veterans, people with past criminal records, and the LGBTQ+ community.
And it's not protections, it's just simply saying, let's have this committee talk about these people that live in our community that may have qualities that need to be talked about.
Now, the vote on the matter was tabled. Minot Mayor Tom Ross would need to appoint someone to head the Human Relations Ordinance if the majority of the council votes in favor of it. The council is expected to vote on the matter at their next meeting on May 15th. Council members say policies on discrimination in the ordinance have not changed since 1976.